I'm Arrington de Dionyso of This Saxophone Kills Fascists. Today, we're going to learn everything that you need to know about using the saxophone as a tool for the liberation of all people. Now, with me tonight, I've got my friend Josh and China Star. Hey, guys.
Hey, Arrington.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing great tonight.
All right. So, we got to start out with the saxophone. Now, the saxophone is a conically shaped instrument that has a very narrow bore up at the tip with the mouthpiece and the reed, and then as it goes down the body of the instrument, it flares out, and here you have, it's almost like a natural acoustic amplifier. So these things can get pretty loud and pretty powerful, and if you're dealing with people who are intolerant and have hatred in their hearts, hopefully this sound will be something that will break that hatred apart and just let it dissipate through the bloodstream. So let's see. Let's start with having all of the keys on your instrument closed. That's going to get you the lowest note of the saxophone. Now we have, remember you've got these keys on your pinky too, so we want to close those up too. And we have two tenor saxophones and one alto, so the sounds are going to be slightly different, tuned about a fifth apart. So that'll make kind of a nice, kind of awkward harmony. All right, let's have at it, folks. All right. Now, it may be that our mouthpieces are just adjusted a little bit different. We're not quite all getting the exact same note, but that's okay because we believe that there's a certain kind of, how would you say it, like a harmony within the dissonance of all of our democratic voices, speaking up because we, the people, are all going to have different things to say. And so, we may not all be saying the same thing at the same time, and that's all right. That's what democracy is all about, because we're going to make sure that our voices are all heard. All right, well, let's try with the highest note without any keys pressed down. Let's see what that sounds like. Hey, that's great. You guys have excellent breath control. That was a nice, long, resounding thing there. So now another thing that's fun, now let's say if we have all the keys down, but then lift all of the keys in your, let's see, the first three fingers of your right hand and just kind of like go back and forth like that, we'll have a cool sound there too. All right, and now let's do the same thing, but with our left hand, and we kind of get an idea of what we sound like with that. All right, well, let me think if there's anything else. If you want to get a real nice biting, screeching tone, you can kind of just slightly bite the tip of your reed with your teeth, and you get kind of like a. So that's a real good one if you've got like a real bona fide Nazi just like right up in your face. You do the. That'll scare them off real quick. All right, well, I think that's about it. Any questions before we get started on killing some fascism?
Like, how many horns do you think we really need here in America? How many saxophones do you think it's going to take?
Well, it's my hope that with the information contained in this program, that each and every one of you will consider the possibility of purchasing or maybe crafting your own saxophone. Building a saxophone like this one might be a little bit of a challenge to get, trying it out your first time, but there are ways to build, approximate replicas of a saxophone with PVC pipes, maybe an old oil tin, some reeds from maybe like from a swamp or something. You could get some reeds and just carve them off on the tip real good like that.
A lot of fascists in the swamp. You got to watch out for those.
Well, yeah, be careful.
Luckily, that's where reeds come from.
Yeah. Actually,
Drain the swamp, play a saxophone.
well, the funny thing about swamps is that a swamp is actually a sign of a healthy ecosystem.
True.
Yeah, so, we want the alligators and snakes and frogs and the beautiful blue herons to live in harmony. And, if we get down into the Florida Keys, we got the manatee too, which is an endangered species. So hopefully we let those creatures live in peace. All right, well, anyway, let's get to it. For this one, let's start out in, I'll kind of give a rhythm, and maybe we could start out, I'll do a note, and you do a note. We'll do kind of a back and forth, like, kind of call and response, and then China, you'll come in kind of as we get that rhythm built up, and once the rhythm's built up, we can kind of take turns soloing a little bit on that.
Sounds great.
All right. All right. That was great.
We're covered in blood, aren't we?
Dripping
feel it?
from every pore.
Oh my God. Underneath my clothes, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Feeling it.
It might seem intimidating to take on fascism.
True.
Fascism is a pretty big subject and really ever present in this changing world of ours. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures.
I agree.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, sometimes we can use our saxophones to whisper gently, like the wind.
Is this also deadly to fascists?
It really is,
I think so.
in so many ways. Next, let's try some tongue rolls. That's a really fun effect that you can do just with the kind of like saying the Spanish R.
right there.
Yeah, yeah. Now, another thing that takes a little bit more practice is the tongue pop. And that's where you kind of have to flick the tip of the reed with your tongue as you're playing, like that, but you do it inside your mouth. So it kind of sounds like... All right. That's excellent. You guys are doing great. Now, another fun thing to do, because remember how we talked about before, how the saxophone consists of this one long, not really a column, it's like a flared cone that's bent around. So if we were to have all, like say we have, well, let's see, not do all the keys. Let's just have the three fingers on each hand pressing down those keys. And what if you have those pressed down, but you lift one up, maybe with that finger right there? So we're gonna divide the column of air. There's still going to be air going down the length of the instrument up to about there to make that note resonate. But then when we release this key, there's also going to be air coming out of here. So if we blow just right, we'll be able to get 2 and maybe even 3 tones at the same time, kind of like an overtone chord. Maybe I'll try it first, then we can do it together. Yeah. Well, let me try it, and then I'm going to try it with this finger here, just to see if we get a different sound. Yeah, I think that one works a little bit better because I think with that one, it's just there's too much space getting let out with that key. So we'll try it with the pointer finger of the right hand. Well, let's, how about you start one, China? Be real fun to explore a little bit is note bending with your embouchure. Your embouchure, of course, refers to what you're doing with your lips, your tongue, and the inside of your mouth as you're playing. Now let's say I'm not, you know, it's like sometimes with the saxophone, all these keys and mechanisms and rods and stuff, it can get a little bit intimidating if you're just starting out for the first time. But a lot of beginners don't realize how much power you have just in playing one note at a time or one fingering position, because you can actually get a lot of different notes by varying the pressure of your lips. And if you kind of slowly move your lip up and down the tip of the reed as you're playing, you can get a variety of different sounds. So again, I'm going to demonstrate without holding down any of the keys at all, just the kind of the natural tone of the instrument here without the keys being pressed down. So I'm kind of doing like a, like in the inside of my mouth as I'm playing the reed, and we get like this sort of sliding tone. And as you learn to control it, you can you can hit different frequencies, and you can kind of go for a more like a more emotional voicing of the instrument. So it's just like I guess I'm relaxing my lips as much as I can, but still holding on to the mouthpiece at the same time with that kind of sound. So why don't you go ahead and try that out? Are great.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Is there anything else? Do you have any questions at this point?
Oh.
How do we identify a fascist?
Well, that's a very good question. I think fascism is marked by a tendency towards authoritarianism and an unquestioning authoritarianism in which any challenge to that authority is suppressed with force. fascists also tend to be, in most cases, very racist, often enforcing archaic ideas of sexuality and gender, and so very very oppressive, especially towards women. I don't know. What do you think? What are some other characteristics of fascism?
They're always looking for an enemy.
Yeah.
Someone that's to blame.
Scapegoating.
Someone to blame.
So that could be the Jews or the Muslims or immigrants, ethnic minorities. Those could all be scapegoats for, like a smoke and mirrors of larger social problems. If you could just, put the blame on some other group, then that's a way of enforcing the power of that unquestioned authority.
Sounds like anyone who's a little xenophobic.
Yeah.
And what happens if you're not a fascist? Can you also appreciate this music?
Well, I would certainly hope so. But, different folks follow different strokes. Not all music is for all people, but when I play music, it's my goal to really reach from the heart to the voice, to channel the inner force of my soul, to really express something that no one else in the world is going to express the thing that I have to express in exactly the same way that I will intend to. And inside you, Josh, you've got something that only you can express in your unique, special way. And you too, China, there's something inside you that only you can really, tap into the bottom of your soul and bring out into the world. And, that's another hallmark of democracy. I mean, we all have our own voices. We all have our own things that we're going to want to say, whether it's through our speech and words or through the sound of our music. And, I think that the ways that our sounds and music combines as a whole, that's, I think, a really wonderful way of illustrating, not just democracy, but also, that we can come together as one and still retain our own unique qualities. We don't have to give ourselves completely to the collective and lose our individual identity, and yet we can enter into a situation, musically, where, it's not like one person is trying to be the leader and everyone else is the follower. We all have our own collective voices, and yet, as a whole, we're going to say something that we wouldn't be expressing just as individual musicians as well. So these are all important points to consider as we continue to use this saxophone or that saxophone or that saxophone to kill fascism. Well, I think on that note, we'll probably come to the end of our program. We're going to end with a little bit more music to just let us
soar on out of here.
And into the streets on wings of freedoms, flying on the wings of eagles, growling like a panther. This saxophone kills fascists. This saxophone's other saxophone is a broomstick. And in the immortal words of Albert Eiler, music is the healing force of the universe.
And so much fun.